We will start with the roll call.
Mr. Torphy?
Here.
Ms. Perez?
Present.
Mr. Day?
Present.
Mr. Sweetwell is not here.
Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the November 2nd, 2022 meeting minutes, which are in the package.
All right. I'll move approval.
And I'll second.
What are
Yes,
you?
all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? The minutes are approved. Then we'll move on to approval of the December 14th, 2022 meeting minutes.
Same thing, move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed, the minutes are approved. All right, and now, Kelsey, staff reports.
Okay, so the first thing is we're continuing our Christmas light recycling program this year. We're doing string lights only, no other like light bulbs or anything like that. There's 3 drop-off locations at both fire stations you can drop off and at the Public Works facility. And we'll make sure they get to the proper recycling facility. Don't put them in the waste management recycling bins because they damage the equipment in the facility and it's very dangerous to their workers. So please bring them to us. It'll run through January 24th. And just to give you guys some context, last year we collected 305 pounds of string lights. So
Wow.
we'll see if we can beat that this year
That's a
or
lot of lights.
get near that. That's quite a bit. Tomorrow night is the commission training for board members. That's at 5:30. So all reappointed and newly appointed members should attend, and everybody that's on the board. And then the Brevard Indian River Lagoon Coalition is having a straight talk on January 19th at Titusville High School from 6 to 8 p.m. And I think they're going to be talking about septic to sewer. And Todd is actually a speaker at that event, so he might have some more information. I'm not sure. We won't put him on the spot. He just got here. City of Cape Canaveral is.
I don't know that it's just septic to sewer, but it is wastewater
Waste
oriented.
disposal,
So,
yeah.
I mean, there will be more than that. In fact, the part that I'm talking about has very little to do with septic to sewer.
That's
so.
on the 9th,
19th.
19th. Yeah, something like
Yeah, cool. Well, we look forward to hearing your talk. The City of Cape Canaveral is continuing their stormwater workshop series to help with their redevelopment plans, and their next one will be on February 2nd at 5:30 p.m. If anyone's interested in attending, just to kind of see what they're doing in our neighboring city. And then lastly, our annual field planting will be on February 18th, starting at 9 a.m. with the Surfrider Foundation, and the location is still TBD, but will be on the beach in Cocoa Beach somewhere. And that's all I have for you.
that. Okay.
Thank you, Kelsey. Okay, then we'll move on to old business. So we have the Community Sustainability Award. We have in the packet you have the award description, information, criteria, application. That has been run through the committee a couple times, and this is the working draft that we have. This has been forwarded to Commissioner Willis for her review and hopefully her support moving forward. What are our next steps, Kelsey?
So I just put it on here because it's still like active business, but if you don't have anything that you want to talk about, move on.
I have a question.
Yes.
We talked about somewhere, and maybe it's in here and I just haven't found it, but we talked about doing something to recognize everyone who applies or is nominated. Some sort of a something, certificate or
Okay.
public recognition or something that, here's the one who's receiving the award, but the following organizations were considered or something.
How do we, I don't remember how we discussed it. We're not just gonna do everyone that applied, right? We're gonna, if you have a complete application, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
assume complete application, but I mean,
Right.
if we're gonna be considering a number of different
Mhm.
organizations, hopefully, it would be nice to at least say, hey, thank you
Mhm.
for applying, and
Mhm.
please think about applying next year, or something like that, or you were nominated.
What do you suggest? Certificate or?
Yeah.
something along those lines, right?
Yeah, and it can be just a simple paper certificate.
Yeah,
Kind of a participation thing you get in Little League, but, yeah. That's probably a good idea. There was a section on recognition
We
here.
did talk about it. in
Mm-hmm.
one of the
Just couldn't
meetings.
remember what we landed on.
It's on the back side of one of these, yeah.
Sorry, it printed weird. I'm seeing that.
It's on the back side of the second page.
So we have award winners will be recognized, and so then do we want to also say, how do we want to phrase that?
Is it even necessary? to
Nominees will be
include-
recognized, nominees will be received.
Does it need to be? I don't know.
Right, because I don't know if you wanna put all nominees will be
Yeah, that
given a
kinda sounds-
certificate. Maybe it's something that we do afterwards. It's like, you're getting the certificate, thank you.
Very, very simple, all nominees will be recognized.
I don't know, that sounds kind of like, what's the point of the award then? I mean, putting it in black and white. I like the gesture of
Yeah.
recognizing everyone's contribution.
Maybe that's more a policy thing,
Right,
a
maybe.
policy thing than anything else.
Right. I like Kelsey's point of not necessarily having it in black and white in the award info, but something that we do as a committee.
As long as we remember to do it,
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
The remembering part. Kelsey, can you make a note?
Yep.
Okay.
And Jim can remind us.
All right. Anything else? Any other comments or suggestions? Okay, then we will await the official sponsorship from Commissioner Wills. All right.
Which is planned for when? What is it? It's not on this week's agenda, I don't know.
No, I have a meeting with Kelsey and the commissioner set up for next week to just go over everything here and make sure she knows where we are as a committee and what we're requesting, and then she will tell us what her next move will be.
Okay,
We will request that she moves it onto the
Yeah,
next agenda, yes.
just bring her attention to the
Yes.
timeline, that'd be great, thank you.
Yes, absolutely, agreed. All right, so then we'll move on to new business. The first order here is to approve the 2022 year-end report. You have it in your packet.
Seems to be pretty comprehensive.
I just wanna point out the number of things that this committee was able to accomplish this year has honestly been fantastic.
Here, here.
Yeah, so, thank you guys. You guys are doing a lot of really hard work.
And you, Kelsey, thank you for all you do too.
Yes.
Move to approve.
A second?
Second.
All those in
Wait,
favor?
wait.
Wait a sec. All those in favor?
Did someone motion?
I think Todd did.
Todd did, yes.
And then Bob, okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right. The year-end report is approved. Then we'll move on to smoking on the beach. So at the last meeting, we had discussed if this is something we want to suggest to the commission to consider, to make an ordinance to prohibit all smoking on the beaches. Since then, there's an item that's on for tomorrow,
Yeah,
right?
I put it in your packet.
Yes, and it's being addressed at tomorrow's commission meeting, is that correct? Where they want to prohibit smoking at city parks,
With the exception of the beach.
with everything, everything but the beach.
This is the same, apparently copied from Indian Harbor Beach, because it does have the exemption for, quote, unfiltered cigars.
But that's the state,
That is strange.
that's the, didn't that come from the state, that you can't prohibit?
Is it?
There was a link you sent us with the state.
There's a statutory citation in there. so-
Yeah, when you sent that email.
Yeah, that's true,
Yeah.
yeah.
Under there, so
It's
the
true.
Tallahassee said you can't, you can't ban unfiltered cigars, which is, I don't understand it, but that's okay. So, you know, it
Now
wasn't
we'll see
something.
now we'll see cigar girls walking up and down the beach selling cigars.
I tend to want to see how the commission addresses the parks issue before we formulate any kind of plan to move forward with the beaches, because
Yeah.
if, I do feel like because we do have some new members, and if I don't know what's, I have no idea what's gonna happen at that meeting. And I feel like if it's just flat out refusal, not interested,
Yeah.
is
I'm
this?
sure there's gonna be plenty of discussion on this
Yes,
tomorrow.
so and what are the, sort of the points that are strongly made and agreed with overall? It might be something we wanna wait on to see where that lands.
Mhm.
That's my thoughts.
So what is the Ocean Beach Park? I mean, is that the entire ocean within the city limits, or?
Are you meaning as far as what is considered the beach that's being exempt, that is not included?
Yeah,
It's the whole beach. So this would include like the land side of Shepherd Park,
okay.
or
But
like
not the beach.
Fisher Park, Ramp Road, city
Gotcha.
parks, but not sandy beach parks.
It's not defined, at least in here, so.
And I take it the city has authority to issue this over the beach if they would like?
Yes,
Yeah.
The state statute changed, I believe it was in July of 2022,
And-
allowing cities to do this.
And Indian Atlantic already did it, right?
Yeah, last session of the legislature did that.
Indian Harbor Beach.
Indian Harbor Beach, sorry.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you that we probably need to see what the temperature of the
Mhm.
commission is before we try to take the next step.
So what is the next step? Like what is on, is this a first reading?
Yes.
When's, for tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night,
Yeah.
And when's the second reading scheduled?
I don't know. I was not a part of making this ordinance. I was surprised to see it on there, but
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised, because
Yeah.
that's what you guys were looking at possibly doing.
This came out of leisure services, right?
Yes.
So,
I think, Todd, their
The m-
schedule has been to do it at the next commission meeting.
which is the 19th,
Yeah,
which means that if we don't weigh in, then it will already have been
Up or
processed
down.
and heard before our next meeting.
So you suggest that we should have something to say before the 19th meeting?
Or tomorrow's meeting, for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, unless we're gonna call a special meeting, then it would have to be before tomorrow's anyway, because we're not gonna have another meeting before the 19th.
We can kind of take I think there's probably a consensus of this board that this is probably something we would like to see happen at least at the parks. And we will consider it another time, look at talking about beaches. Am I reading that correctly, so?
Right, so this, I mean, no, I see what you're saying, Todd. This just happened. I mean, we
Yeah.
literally saw this, what was it, yesterday, Kelsey?
Yeah, the agenda was posted just last week,
Mm-hmm.
right before the holiday. What the committee could do, if you would like to show support for this, the chair could send a memo
Mm-hmm.
through the city manager's office to the city manager to let her
Mhm.
know that the committee supports that, and she may pass that on to the commission. But
Okay.
as far as doing anything else before tomorrow night's meeting, that's gonna be very
Yeah.
Right.
challenging.
We understand that.
So let me ask, what is is, from this committee's perspective, does this committee feel like it should be applied to the beach, or we're uncertain, and if we're uncertain, why?
You would just ask us individually, Todd?
Yeah, that's kind of just for discussion here, and then this is a new business item, so at some point, I think we all should open this up for any public
Sure,
comment. That would be,
Mhm.
if there's public comment here as well.
Kelsey, were you able to get any data from KDB or anybody on cigarette butt?
I have not, but I can look right now while you talk.
Oh, okay. I guess, from the way I understand it, in Indian Harbor Beach is smoking is prohibited except in certain areas. And the main purpose there is that that's where the cigarette butts end up instead of over the entire beach. And cigarette butts take a long time to degrade, and our seabirds eat them, and so a lot of downside to have a lot of cigarette butts on the beach. And if any of us have done any beach cleanup work, we know that there's a lot of cigarette butts on the beach. So, as a former smoker, I feel that you get up off your chair and you walk over to the designated area and have a cigarette, come back, do what you're doing. I don't see it as a great hardship.
Well, one thing, part two of this item talks about the Keystone Report. And going back and reading that, it came out that there was no consensus on smoking on the beach. I know the groups I was there for both the morning and the afternoon sessions, that both of them had people on both sides of the issue that truly believe that smoking should be banned on the beach, and yet there are others that do not agree. Personally, I'm with you, Jim. I think that probably the best thing is to prohibit it with possibly an area that is where smoking is allowed.
And what's, as far as hesitancy?
We
Just because
didn't
it's
have,
fine.
so this is something we brought up at the last meeting to discuss, and so we were coming to
All
this
of a sudden
meeting,
this came.
with just with more background information to see how would we suggest it. And so that's what we were gonna discuss today, but my feeling was, let's not spend a lot of time and energy figuring that out until we know if it's even going to be an option on the table. That was my thought.
I guess my concern about this is that an ordinance means that there's, it's on the table and up for discussion. And so if we've got, we have two avenues to be heard. One is to send a message from the committee as a whole, of which we would need to send something, craft something here and send it, or the other is, at that point, it is a public hearing and we can go and participate as individuals in the public hearing process. But from a scheduling standpoint, if, I don't know that this may be a contentious enough topic that they won't hold it at the next meeting, but if they do, if the second reading gets scheduled for the next meeting, then this committee's voice will not be heard unless, as individuals, go participate in that, because that's, if it's being proposed as an ordinance, evidently it's already been properly noticed and all those things. So if it's properly noticed and held in this ordinance, when first reading passes, with whatever modifications are given by the commission, and then the next meeting, if it passes again, it's adopted. And it can be adopted either way. It can be adopted with changes, so they could add in the beach. It could be adopted as written. It could be declined and nothing passes.
Right.
So you're saying get in the game now?
At a minimum,
I am fully on board with crafting a message as a committee, if you all want to, at this meeting, that we can have presented, hopefully, to the commission to know that, to make our point clear that we are on board with this, and perhaps would even reconsider prohibiting on the beach as well. But we support the ordinance to move forward.
I mean, from my standpoint, that would be the thing, would be to say we support the ban. So the messaging that I would personally want to send would be that we support the ban in the city's parks, and that we do feel that the city commission should consider extending that, that as the sustainability committee, we do think that the city commission should consider extending some form of ban to the beaches, that the litter associated with smoking is a significant litter, and
Health.
environmental impacts to
Mhm.
the beaches.
And
And,
health concern.
and from our committee's mission, it is something that we think needs to be addressed. We also recognize that that it's a complex issue and that there's many alternatives ranging from complete ban to designated smoking areas, and that, we're unable to weigh in on, the specifics of that type of recommendation at this time, but we do think that there should be discussion related to the applicability of this type of ban on the beaches. And then that way, we've made it clear that we do think it's important
Mhm.
on the beaches as well, but we haven't drawn a line in the sand that says that, just, that we do recognize that there's other elements to it.
I love that.
Yeah,
I'm completely on board with that.
I'd support that.
Me too.
Kelsey?
I don't know if I got all
I was
of
just, I
that.
heard you.
I was like typing really fast. But, what I'm hearing is that we wanna draft something now.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So what I have written is the committee supports the ban in city parks, so maybe we could say,
Ordinance number
Yes.
1674.
Yeah, as proposed by ordinance number 1674.
okay, let me just put that down really quick. Okay, and then as a sustainability committee, we do feel that the commission should extend the ban to the beaches. Cigarette butts are associated with litter and ecological impacts to the beach.
Maybe we would suggest that the commission consider.
Yeah, consider extension of the ban to the beaches.
So as a sustainability committee, we do feel that the commission should consider extending the ban to the beaches. Do you like that? Adria, would you like to type this as the
Well,
chair?
we had a little bit of follow-up about, the implications. Do you have that in there?
About what?
The implications. So-
Yes, so what I have is cigarette butts are associated with litter and ecological impacts to the beach. And I actually found some numbers on cigarette butts just really quickly. For the International Coastal Cleanup, now this is 2020 numbers, but this is the most recent report I can find. In Florida, 52,646 cigarette butts were collected, and that is the #1 trash item collected. And then across the entire International Coastal Cleanup, cigarette butts were #1 with over 960,000 cigarette butts collected. So it's like the #1 trash item according to this International Coastal Cleanup.
Okay. And then I would personally close with we recognize this is a complex issue and that there are, and that we
Other
recognize
factors
it's a
to be-
complex issue that could range from a complete ban to designated smoking areas. And we encourage the commission to engage in a discussion related to,
Robust
you know,
discussion.
Sounds good.
related to this matter, or related to extension of a all or partial ban on the beach.
Okay. We'll see if I captured Todd's words. So the committee recognizes that this is a complex issue that could range from a complete ban to designated smoking areas, and we request that the commission consider discussing this addition. Or,
We recognize that the commission extend the discussion to the beach areas. They're gonna get the point with that. I think that's close enough.
And let's say either at this point or at some future date, something like that, just what gives them to get this passed and then.
They're gonna do whatever they wanna do
Yeah,
anyway.
that's
so.
true, I agree, yeah. Give them an out that they could do this first and then extend it at a later date, I don't know, whatever.
I mean, to me, we're writing this in a way that shows that it's being flexible enough that we recognize that it isn't it may not be as simple because
Right.
there's
A lot of
economic
factors to
choices and
consider.
things like that, but
I think it just makes it clearer where we stand, which, that's all we can do at this point.
and from a sustainability perspective, it's something that, it's an issue.
Mhm.
Okay, so do you want me to read it again?
Please.
Just to make sure we have it? Okay. Adria, do you wanna read it?
Sure.
Just this little paragraph down here.
The committee supports the ban on smoking in the city parks as proposed by ordinance number 1674. As the Sustainability Committee, we do feel that the commission should consider extending the ban to the beaches. Cigarette butts are associated with litter and ecological impacts to the beach. The committee recognizes that this is a complex issue that could range from a complete ban to designated smoking areas, and we request that the commission consider extending the discussion to the beach areas.
Okay.
Yes?
Do we need to say that's proposed ordinance 1674 since it's not enacted yet?
As committee supports the ban on smoking to the city parks. So we'll say in proposed ordinance then, just change the. Okay, so it says, the committee supports the ban on smoking in the city parks in proposed ordinance number 1674.
Mm.
Good.
Move approval?
I think we should open it if there's any
Okay,
public
yeah,
comment.
well, sure, absolutely. Public comment?
Is there public comment on the committee's,
Opposed action?
proposed action to the commission?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so Kelsey, what's our next step for that? Do you?
Okay,
Yeah, motion.
I
so-
made a motion to approve the,
Okay,
I'll second.
So I just want to be clear here, we're approving a recommendation to the commission.
that's
We're
correct.
approving submitting the language as written to the
Right.
commission.
So this is going to be, submitted directly to the commission. Does that make sense,
Or-
Kelsey?
Or through the
As
city
far
manager,
as-
please.
Or is this going to the city manager?
this could be an inter-office memorandum that would be sent to the commission through the city manager's office.
Okay,
So what I can do is, as you continue the meeting, I can work on putting this on a letterhead for a memo,
mm-hmm,
and then, we can print it in Adria, you can sign it afterwards,
mm-hmm.
if that works for you.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so then, Todd, you are moving to,
Bob made the motion, I seconded.
so you made the motion to
Yep,
send this recommendation to the city manager to be passed on to the commission.
right.
And then Todd second,
We say all in favor, I guess. and then we'll
yes,
go
all in favor?
from there.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you, Todd, for making that happen too. Okay, so now we will move on to committee member announcements. We'll just go down the line then. Todd, any announcements?
Kelsey already covered we've got the Straight Talk event on the 19th, so that'll be interesting. We've got a prep session later this week, so I'll learn exactly what it's about at that point. And I don't think anything else for me.
Okay. Well, looking at the appointments to the board, we know that Kelly is leaving and is being replaced, and we appreciate all that Kelly has done. She's given us a firsthand account of how this affects businesses and such like, and Todd has not been reappointed. So truly, Todd, we appreciate what y'all have done. I think your work on the language this evening is a fine example of how you've really helped this board. So I really appreciate your time on this.
Thank you, Todd.
You're one of the original appointees, and again, you took a year off, but you came back. Now you get to sit home on Monday nights.
Yeah.
So, any case, thank you.
I just have it's not an announcement, I just have a question though. Some time ago, we talked about potentially touring the waste management facility for recycling, and we never did do that. I think maybe some of the committee has done it in the past.
Yeah, I have.
I have not. So I'd like that to be looked into if possible in the new year.
Okay.
Just
We're gonna shut down for a while and they don't do tours in the summer, but with the new committee members coming on board, maybe it's the perfect time.
Right, right.
That's exactly
And
what
one
it
more
is.
thing, Jim, is I forgot, last time we talked about recycled stuff downtown, and I did find that there are two,
I saw that.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
saw that. But
Two
for the,
recycling things
for the
down-
volume of the art show,
Yeah.
you need more than two.
yeah, I agree, you know.
But yeah, but that's at least a
and-
start.
And maybe it's one thing eventually we may want to talk about for events, that they need to have more recycling opportunities. Any case.
Yep.
I wanted to mention that at the commission meeting tomorrow as well, there's an item for requesting bids for the design of the new city hall. And in that request, they are also asking for a design for a cultural green space, which I think is a wonderful sustainability initiative and speaks to our mission here as a committee. So I would love to see those designs come to fruition. And so if anyone wants to support that, to write a letter to the commissioners or show up to the meeting for that item as well. I also had a question for you guys, and maybe this is something that better hashed out when we have new members, but I do think that we should get some items on the list for stuff we want to be working towards, some more initiatives that we could probably pick up. I feel like we're chugging along pretty good, and I know that we probably have some good ideas. So if anyone has some things we want to bring to the next meeting to open up, I would love that.
Great.
All right, any other announcements? And Todd, I didn't realize that you were leaving us.
Oh, I
So-
didn't either.
So I think that your contribution has been integral to the committee, so thank you. All right, we will move on now to public comment. We have some
An
public
audience
this
tonight.
evening. We are honored to have you here. So Kelsey, how does this podium here? This is the first time we've done it here. Okay, so if anyone present would like to address the committee, feel free to come up to the podium, state your name, and say your piece. Okay.
I think we're good.
All right, thank you. Then we will adjourn until our next meeting, February 1st at 6:30.